Hello, how are you, my dear teacher, Mr. Eduardo Gonzalez? I am really glad to make this second video about my lesson plan from my subject Pre-Professional Internship 2. In this occasion, I will start talking about my lesson plan number 12. The theme or the topic for this class is the simple present tense, designed for second baccalaureate. And this class will have a length of 45 minutes. The proficiency level of my students is B1.1. The second step of my lesson plan is about the objectives. I have objectives. I aim to develop the 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So the students with this class will be able to identify and follow instructions. We are talking about the listening objectives. Now for the speaking objectives, what we have, students will be able to accurately form sentences in present tense. For the reading skills, they will be able to recognize the present tense in reading text. And the fourth objective is the students will be able to construct paragraph by using the simple present tense. The third step of my lesson plan is about methodology and strategies. For the methodology, I will combine 2 methods: the direct method and grammar translation. Just to remember what these methods are about, the direct method is when we use only English. We don't use grammar at all, only English. That's the direct method, direct information. And grammar translation, as the word says, we have to use vocabulary, grammar rules, and of course the translation. For the strategies, this time I will work with the students in the whole group, the whole class work, and also they will work with the individual work, and I will take the students to make also in pairs the role play, as I can say. The first step of the lesson plan is the anticipatory set. Here I will pick up a newspaper. It could be any paper, and I pretend to read it. So I will ask to my students, what are you doing? And they have to watch me, and they have to say, you are reading a newspaper. And the teacher, I will ask to the students, what newspaper I'm reading, and students have to respond. For example, you are reading the Diario La Hora. Well, it could be any newspaper. For example, in the place where I live here in the peninsula of Santa Elena is well known the La Super, El Universo. Now the 5 step of my lesson plans is the main teaching input. Here in the main teaching input, I will make the warm-up activity. Here I will make some questions to activate their knowledge and remember previous studies about simple present tense. Thus, I will say every day I woke up at 6 a.m. I will ask, what time do you wake up? I will ask the students, and the students start to interact with me, and they have to make some questions also. Here I will introduce the simple present tense as first person singular, and I will tell to students I read the diario aloud every day, and I make a list of the things that I used to do every day. It's my routine. For example, I have breakfast at 7 a.m. I go to work at 9 a.m. I have lunch at noon. I go home at 5 p.m. I watch TV before dinner. I can use all these questions. And I will make sure the students understand what I'm doing, not only in the day but in a week, about my habitual actions. I also, to check my students in my class, and I will go around the class and I have to students, for example, I have students to tell the students have to tell me what they do every day, or if they have habits that they construct in their daily life. And they should give more example in the first present singular. Second, I will introduce the present simple as a third person singular. I will say, I read the diario Laura. Rosa reads El Comercio. And I have to make sure the students notice that I've added the S to the third person singular. That's very important, the S, because it's a big difference. I will give more examples with other students, and I will introduce the irregular verbs. For example, John goes to work at 8 a.m. Sally has lunch at 1 p.m. And students provide more examples from the information previously shared by their classmates. And let's continue with the lesson plans. It's a process. Now I have the 6 steps. It's about modeling. Here the teacher shows students posters with grammar about simple present tense in its affirmative, negative, and question form. The teacher also writes on the board some examples and asks students for more and more examples. So that's what I will be doing in this model. Now we have, let's go to the 7th step. The 7th step is the guide practice. Let's go into to see what's going on. Here the teacher asks students to work in group of 5 members. They have to write the students, they have to write a paragraph about the teacher's life. They will talk about me. Let's continue. And now the 8th step is the independent practice. Independent practice is time to work on their own. Okay, because I prepare them with a guide practice, whole class. Now is the independent practice. In orderly way, the students have to make an exposition about their real life by using the topic, in this case the present tense. Now the assessment, that's the step number 9. Here the students have to fill in the blanks with appropriate simple present tense form of the verb given in the practice. Students will be use the worksheet that I give to them. Finally, the last step, closing review and follow up. Here And the teacher makes a review by using the poster with the grammar of simple present tense. I will use all this material that I use in my class that I put on the wall on the blackboard, and to give a visual help to my students. I will encourage them to use the appropriate pronunciation and intonation. But what supplementary materials I use for this class number 12? I use a poster and a worksheet to teach my students about this simple present tense. Sorry. The poster, as we can see here, is toward the present simple. For example, we have the verb work is negative form. For example, don't work, and we have to use done or doesn't plus verb is the auxiliary. And simple past tense, this is another poster to talk about, to make question about positive, negative, positive in a positive form, negative form in question. This is the website where I download this material, this information. Finally, to check my students, I will do an assessment. It's kind of homework. This is the worksheet. They have to fill in the blanks with appropriate simple present tense form of the verb given in the brackets. For example, let's see the first example, the first sentences. The plane at 6:30, and we have here the verb arrive. So if we are working, if we start in the simple present tense, the plane, we're talking in the third person, so we have to add the letter S. So the answer should be the plane arrives at 6:30. Okay, now let's finish with the second sample. Let's see one more sample. One more. I will phone you when he back. So when we are talking in the third person, so we have to add the letter S. So the answer is when he comes. I will phone you when he comes back. Okay, that was my lesson plan number 12. That is how I develop and design all my activities, methodology, strategies, and the supplementary material. Thank you very much, teacher. I appreciate your time that you took to check and review my video. Thank you so much.